Welcome to another edition of Am Abel Foundation's Medicine Makers. I'm your host, Cornelius Conway, and this is season 3. It's the third season. We had 2 strong seasons previously. We have some great programs coming up, and we ended 2019 with a bang. And I'm going to show you some of the stuff we've been doing. Here's the website, iamabel.org. That's abel.org. And we had some crazy programs. We're actually in Cuba right now. Our director of the program, Dr. Conway's in Cuba with some medical students and family. And they're doing a kind of a medical service trip, more or less. And here's some of the programs we had. We have the Top Docs and Hot Shots 3-on-3 basketball tournament. That was held at Loyola Stritch Medical School. That was a great event. A lot of kids came out. We have the Haiti mission trip. That's held by Dr. Joy. That's annually. Great trip to Haiti, and they do a lot of good work over there. Academic advising is also done by us. It's everything. We have physician mentorships, and if you want to get in tune, please get in tune with your physician. And if you want to be a physician mentor, sign up. If you're a student out there and you want to have the quickest route from A to B to get into med school, please sign up. So we have a great segment today. We're going to interview this man right here. I'm going to introduce him in a second. But we're going to talk about black men in medicine and kind of some of the loopholes and potholes we run into as black men in medicine. But right here, we have Kaylen Pettis. How's it going today?
It's going pretty well. About yourself?
I'm doing well. So introduce yourself to the people, where you're from and what you do.
Well, my name is Kaylen Pettis. I'm a medical school student at Loyola. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Graduated from Whitehaven High School, matriculated in Rose College, and now I'm here. I'm an MPH MD candidate. I finished the didactic part of my MPH last year, and so now it's medical school. And so every day is a grind, just trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. But you learn how to do better.
How was that transition from Memphis to Chicago?
It's cold.
Besides the weather.
Oh, it's cold. Now, it's really my biggest thing with Chicago is the weather.
Yeah.
I'm not used to it being really cold.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to snow kind of like stopping everything, right. And you stay at home with some chili. And,
we keep moving.
Yeah, but y'all just keep moving. Yeah. It's just disrespectful. But it is what it is.
Yeah, the weather's terrible over here. You know what, though? You know what's interesting? A lot of people come to Chicago there's so many medical schools here.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chicago has around 6 medical schools. Maybe, I think it might be a little bit more if you add the one over in SIU, in Carbondale, Illinois. But there's so many med schools in the state for a state not that big.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's definitely true.
So we're talking about black men in medicine. Obviously, we're black men in medicine, and we have a different story than a lot of people that go into medicine. It's different. It's sometimes harder, and a lot of times we kind of have to have a different mindset to go into medicine. So for you, in your opinion, do you feel that black men have obstacles going into medicine, and what are some of the obstacles we have?
Oh,
if we do.
The first question is kind of funny because, of course, black men have obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
First, there's a lot of obstacles in medical school. A lot of obstacles in place that prevent people from getting to medical school in the first place. But when you come from certain communities, that gap gets harder. So it's harder for you to know how to get into medical school when you don't have anybody that you've seen in medical school or a doctor. I remember I never had a black male physician. I never met a black male physician until I got to medical school. And so just not having that framework, that person that can tell you, oh, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do, prevents it. A lot of times academic advisors kind of point you to nursing or pharmacy and things like that, and they don't really point you into medicine. And that definitely stops a whole bunch of people. The MCAT stops a whole bunch of people. A lot of us, we don't really know how to study for the MCAT, and I was one of those people. I remember going to my professors in college and like, oh, can I get your PowerPoints because I'm studying for the MCAT. The stuff on the MCAT should be on the PowerPoint, it should be, right? And then I had to realize, oh, I have to go get MCAT materials to study for the MCAT. Okay, let me try to do that better. So there's a lot of ignorance that prevents us from being able to achieve and try to get to these places. And then a lot of times it's also top down. Once we get to these places, a lot of times we don't give back and give people the game plan. And so it's kind of like a cycle that keeps going on and on.
Do you think exams like the MCAT are necessary to get in med school?
So
they should be necessary?
So I was talking to a lot of people in admissions because that's kind of what I work with and try to do. And so the MCAT really is the only tool that can, rank people.
Right, like common denominator.
That ranks people, because if I took biology and you took biology, but I took biology at, we'll say, Princeton, and you took biology at some community college,
Right.
Those two classes won't be ranked the same
Right.
in people's minds. And so the MCAT is the only way people can actually rank all of the all your classes and stuff like that. It's the only way they can kind of individualize you.
Right. What's interesting, because when you look into the MCAT and students that don't necessarily do well in the MCAT, there's been studies that have shown that it doesn't really correlate into the step one. But like you said, it's like their only way, or one of the best ways to differentiate this student from that student. They have the same GPA, same extracurriculars. I guess it's like just another layer. But that's also another obstacle that we go through. Primarily because the resources, MCAT books are not cheap.
Yeah.
These courses can be thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these students been preparing for it since babies, man. And you know what I mean? So you have a lot of these black pre-meds who they don't even know when to study for it or how long to study for it. They're giving it 2 months, 3 months. And I'm an example of it, So there's a lot of miseducation about the MCAT, and I think that's one of the big obstacles that we have,
Just kind of going on the MCAT and pricing and things like that. With me, I didn't have enough. I didn't have money to buy the Princeton Review or things like that. But I just pretty much used Khan Academy, their whole catalog, and I was just doing that for at least 4 to 5 hours every single day after I graduated. Quick kind of story about me. I graduated in 2017 in May. Then after I graduated, I studied for about 2.5 months for August in order to take the MCAT. And so no books, no nothing. The thing that really helped me, and I have to shout out Paige Jones, one of my friends that's at University of Arkansas Medical School right now. She literally gave me the whole game plan. So she was an M1 while I was trying to apply to medical school. She was reading my applications. She donated all her ACT books, all her MCAT books to me and everything like that. And so she was a very pivotal person, and I would not be where I am at this place without her.
Right.
And so I say all of that to say that we as future physicians, people in medical school, we have to make this role plain.
For sure.
Because if we don't do it, no one else will. And that's something that I've realized even going through it. And we have to actually make it plain. So a lot of times I would talk to somebody and I say, so you have any tips? And they'll say something like study or something that I already know.
Very generic.
Exactly. I know I need to study, but
sure.
Tell me what I need to do to get to this point.
And that's the issue. Because you know what? As black people in general in medicine, we don't have there's few of us that have generational physicians. A lot of these different ethnic groups, they have parents and grandparents, great-grandparents who are physicians. So they know all the rules, they know all the steps. It's harder for them to mess up. But for us, we can mess up anywhere along that path because it's not A to B, it's A to Z, and you can even go off the alphabet into some numbers. So that's how hard this path is, because it's not a direct path. Everyone has different stories. Like me myself, I didn't have a science background, so I had to do a post-bac to do these science courses. Now there's a lot of information out there about people going to these post-bac programs that are, already put together, these put-together post-bac programs. Or you can just go take them at a regular college and save money. So these are things that we have to start sharing with each other, because people aren't giving this information now. That's why I Am Abel is here, because we're going to make the path plain. It's no excuses, because we're giving you the game. It's free game.
Free.
Literally free. So
kind of just to go what you said, some free game. If you're applying to medical school, you have to look into the fee assistance program. That literally is the key to allow you to apply to a whole bunch of schools, allow you to get a reduced MCAT, and also gives you MCAT materials to study and things such as that. So that's a gem that I'm glad I used, because My mama couldn't pay for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was me, my mom, my little sister. I told my mama when I went to college she wouldn't have to pay for anything because that's my mama. I knew she had to take care of my little sister. So through undergrad, I worked 2 jobs, still was active on campus, still at a biochemistry, molecular biology degree and stuff like that, and just had to hustle my way through it. So, you know, one thing that you find out is there's always little chinks in the armor. There's always little potholes that you can go and navigate through. But a lot of times you don't know them because either we don't know to ask, we don't know what to ask,
Right.
and we don't know who to ask.
Yeah,
And so those are the things that kind of go back to your first question, prevent a lot of us from gaining the knowledge that we need because we don't know where to get it from.
Right. And you know what's interesting? I'm gonna give a stat right now. In the 70s, and this kind of goes off of what we were talking about before, there's actually more black male medical students than today. Mm-hmm. You know, there was, I think, 542 black male medical students. That's a small number. Let's get this straight. There's about 13% to 15% black males, or black people in general in the U.S. So when you have 4% of all practicing physicians as male and female blacks, that's super low. There's no representation. So why was it more in the 70s, you think, that than compared to today? It's a big drop.
That's really a deep question. And that question, you have to touch so many different points. The cultural points, the historic points of where people were in that time, after King, assassination and things like that. But I'm going to kind of go on a point that I truly believe. I believe that nowadays we have more role models and less mentors.
I see.
And that's the thing that prevents a lot of us, because when you have a role model, you have someone that's deified. Mm-hmm. And so like you say, oh, you see what he did? He shows that you can do it. But that's it.
All right.
And then the thing about role models is they're deified and they cannot do any wrong until they do wrong. So me personally, two of my biggest role models growing up was Bill Cosby and Ben Carson. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows about those two right now. But the thing about it is, though, when I was growing up, they could do no wrong. I read Gifted Hands. I watched The Cosby Show, you know. But the thing about it is, once they do wrong, all of that good that they have done in their lives has disappeared. No one talks about how Bill Cosby helped millions, I think millions might be an overshoot, but helped a whole bunch of black people go to college and things like that.
Spelman specifically.
Exactly. No one talks about that anymore because of the wrongdoing. But I really had mentors in my life. And so mentors to me are kind of like the aunties, the second mamas, the unks. These are the people who, they may not have everything together, but they can give you the game plan of how to live this thing called life. You know, they'll sit and they'll talk to you and say, you know, I'm not all good, but I can tell you what you don't need to do and what you can do to be better. And so we need more of that in medicine, because even in medical school, I need help. Like, I really don't know a lot of stuff that I do.
It doesn't stop.
It really doesn't. And so, like, you know, I'm glad that, you know, Chicago has a huge physician population, a huge black physician population, to where, like, I could actually have many mentors and be like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Can you please tell me what I need to do in order for me to make this road easier? And not just easier, but more beneficial.
For sure.
And so that's kind of like what I've been doing, talking to different people and stuff. And then also kind of giving back and telling people, I'm kind of like you. And kind of like what you were talking about with the Top Docs, the 3-on-3 basketball. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I kind of got into I Am Abel and everything like that. And how, like, it's really kind of revolutionized my life to the point where I feel like what I do matters. Sure. And I think that's a lot of things, a lot of times that black medical students, they don't really have somebody or people who really understand the grind that they go through. And so they have to get relief from doing things in the community a lot of times. And one of my relief things is kind of mentoring, which I'm glad that you guys' organization has allowed me to accomplish that.
Sure. Yeah, and even to go off that, mentoring is huge. You know, like, that's what I don't think you would have anywhere as many black physicians we have in Chicago without the big network, because it's all about network. It's how communities grow, right? It takes a village to raise a child. And also, we were talking about before earlier, we were talking about black males. A lot of times we come from different situations, economic situations. So when you think about medicine, medicine isn't a direct path to finance, right? You can't make money off of being a physician in the next 2-3 years. But hey, if you're a black male, you have some decent work ethic. Well, a lot of work ethic, but you're decently intelligent. You're like, hey, I can do engineering, I can do accounting. And we're talking about the delayed gratification.
Yeah.
But I think in the 70s, I think it's just a time period now that we don't want to wait for anything. And I think back in the 70s and even before then, people were just more patient. You know what I mean? I think we have a more...
I also think that it was more of a need for black doctors back in the 70s. And when I say that, I mean 60s and 70s is when this integration is actually working.
Right.
So this is when we're trying to piece together these pieces for the America that we have today. But before that, you had a primarily black community, you have a primary white community. And so in your primary black community, your physicians were black,
That's true.
your teachers were black, everybody was black.
And it worked.
And it worked. And then we moved toward integration to where, now everyone's coming together. And there's pros and cons to both of those things, A lot of times the talent from black communities got sucked out and put into white academia and things like that. And then on top of that, there was nobody to really keep the base of that black community that they have.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times black people wanted to be physicians because they were like, oh my God, I know I can do that. I know there's going to be a job for that. I know we need that. And so we have that sense of community. But when you integrate somebody into a vast majority of people and you don't have that need as strong as it once was, people are free to do a lot of different things.
And this goes back even before the 70s and 60s. This is, post-Reconstruction era, Jim Crow era. Anytime you have a group of people who I think are backed up against the wall, they're separated from society, you're forced to produce more, right? It's like, we have no other choice. You can even talk about Cuba. Our program is going to Cuba right now. They're in Cuba, they're in Havana. It's, you have all these physicians over there in Cuba because there's a need. But guess what? There's the technology that we have, the MRIs, the CAT scans, the x-rays, they lack that. So what do? They compensate. And they are great primary care physicians. Their one-on-one care, their manipulation of the hands, they're just great physicians. They do what they can with what they have. And I think it's what we did back in the day as well. And just to keep going off that, do you think what's the benefit of having a black male physician? I have a black male physician. What do you think the benefit of that is?
It cuts down that cultural wall that we have. A lot of times there's a lot of anger and distress in the health system when it comes to African Americans. There's a lot of anger and distress because black people have not forgotten, the things that were done to them, kind of like the Tuskegee experiment, Henrietta Lacks, things such as that. Black people have not forgotten that. And so that whole mentality that doctors just want to experiment on black people, they don't care about black people and things like that, is still alive today.
And the Tuskegee experiment, they were giving these military men syphilis. They were giving them syphilis. They were injecting syphilis into them and telling them it was some type of, it was a cure. They were sick and they were giving them syphilis and people died. And that was the Tuskegee experiment.
It was more they were watching the course of syphilis happen to them. And then they had the antibiotic that they could have used to cure it, but they watched them suffer and things like that. So that whole debate about, human experimentation, human clinical trials, all this stuff has been happening to African Americans for years, And so, like, when black people have to go to the doctor, they're like, why would I go to the doctor for? That's number one. Number two, the prices. Our healthcare system does not allow, I guess believes that poor people should be sick. I mean, they don't allow a lot of people to have the quality of care that they need and they deserve. So when you're not going to get that quality care, why even go? But with a black physician who a lot of ways can understand you, understand where you're coming from, understand your social determinants. So, you can't pick up your medication because, your son got out of jail and you have to bail him out. I will understand that more than somebody else that may be a different type of physician. And even like I used to work at Walgreens as a farm tech through college. I said, even in that, a lot of people, I never believed that people should be without their medication. So I would come out of my pocket and pay for people that have the blood pressure medication, the diabetes medication, if I can afford it. You know, a lot of times, sometimes I couldn't afford it because it was that expensive. But if it was something I could grab, I would do that, because there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have your medications. But there's a lot of obstacles that A, prevent black people from being physicians, B, prevent black people being cared for by physicians, and C, prevent black people from following the care and the medicinal routine that the physicians want us to have. And so that's really the main reason why I wanted to become a physician, because I think this process could be so much easier. But I just think that no one has thought about it, or no one is really trying to make this process easier.
Right.
So that's why I just decided, you know, I guess God put it on my heart to do it.
So as a future black male physician, because we talked about the obstacles, we talked about the shortage of black male doctors, what do you think should be done? And we have the Am Abel Foundation, but what are things that we can do as future black male physicians to kind of
join pipeline organizations and create pipeline organizations? I think a lot of times black people have a drive, but they don't have a vision. They can't see this.
Right.
Like, I couldn't see this, you know, until my best friend, actually Kaylen Pettis, my best friend, is the reason why I chose this route, because I was pre-pharmacy, because that's the only thing I knew. I knew black people did pharmacy. I didn't know any black males that did, you know, medicine. And so, but he's the one who convinced me that I was too afraid to make that jump. So he's the one that kind of put my eyes on this prize that I'm at right now. So, you know, I'm always the type of person, gotta give honors to honors due. So that being said, it's just about giving back. We have to truly give back. And I think a lot of times we come from the bottom. We finally achieve this prize, this success, and everything that comes with it. And then we're like, well, I've done all this work, because it's hard. It's hard work. I mean, you grind, and you're in school for, if you count, you know, your regular elementary, the middle, and high school, you're in school for over 20 years.
Well, over 20 years.
Well, close to 30 quietly.
Right.
But, you know, and then you finally finish.
Yeah.
You finally hit this peak. And you want me to go do more work?
Yeah.
I mean, it's understandable in one sense, but in another sense, it's not understandable. Because a lot of times we follow these excuses to where we're like, well, I did it, you know, they can do it.
Right.
But they didn't get lucky like you did.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we have to realize that a lot of us got lucky. A lot of us talked to that one person that convinced us to take the jump. A lot of us, one admissions advisor or director person saw our applications like, I really like him. He has a heart. And then like it just kind of just, you know, snowballs. But a lot of times we don't. It's not like we do all of this from scratch, you know.
And I that's why I wanted to also, you know, the few minutes we have, you know, I don't want people to think that you're special, but you're not that special. You're not that special, because we always have someone that's helping us out. Where is this? You can't do this path alone, and that's what the issue is. I think a lot of people get into their positions and they kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm the man now. I'm the woman now, right? You can't tell me anything, and they don't leave a helping hand, right? So the whole point of this foundation is to, when you open the door, leave a wedge in it for the next person. So that's the whole point of this foundation, because we're all here because of someone before us. And there's some brilliant people out there that aren't in med school, that aren't doing what they're supposed to do, or what they wanted to do, right? What they love to do, because they didn't have that same community that we have. So please, if you feel acclimated, if it's in your heart, if you want to be a physician, you're a student out there, check out iamable.org. The applications are still open. If you're out of state, or you know someone's out of state, tell them to check out the affiliate link. There's an affiliate program. They won't have a physician mentor necessarily, but they'll still stay, connected with the program, and they'll be able to enjoy all the fruits of the labor of the program. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. Big ups to Kaylen Pettis. He's a good man, great student, super smart. He's gonna be a great physician one day. And please stay in tune with some great programs. We have the consortium coming up. We have the gala coming up this spring. Please stay tuned. Thanks.